Hello everyone, I'm Jeff Daymont, the designer of the Dark Hand deck. My goal for the deck was to let you play familiar card games, but be able to switch to an alternate deck in a parallel universe. I've been able to create about a dozen games so far, but to modify every single card game could take a lifetime. So this video is about different ways that you can modify and play games with the Dark Hand deck. You can apply one of these game mechanics to a card game you already know, or use one as inspiration to make up a new game from scratch. The first one I call We Choose Dark. Each player gets to look at their hands and decide if they want to play their light hand or their dark hand. This game style works well for games where you are trying to maximize the value of each hand, like in cribbage or poker. In I Call Dark, one player can commit to playing only their dark cards for the deal by calling dark and taking the dark joker for themselves. This player will get some kind of bonus if they can win the hand with their dark cards. But they will have a disadvantage because the other players know what kind of cards they're looking for. Only one player can call dark in any hand, but another player can call light for a win bonus with light cards. I used this in the game Dark Hand. If you call dark, you should risk a little more, but if you succeed, you should win a little more. In most games, players can only play their light hand or their dark hand. But with mix and match games, you can play both shades in the same hand. So imagine a game like Blackjack where you're trying to get a score of 21, but each card has two values to choose from. Now if only one player can mix and match shades, they would have an advantage over players who cannot. This makes an unbalanced game where one player has a clear advantage. Maybe you need to do something special for the privilege, or maybe it's only the dealer who can mix and match. A simple mechanic for two-player games is I play light, you play dark. One player just plays the light cards, while the other just plays the dark. For example, in a game like Crazy Eights, you would play your light cards that match the light side of the card on the discard pile. Then your opponent would need to play a dark card that matches the dark side of the card you just played. For more than one player, you can pick teams of light and dark. Next is, we all play light, then we all play dark. This style of game starts with everyone playing their light cards like a normal game, but then everyone changes to their dark hands at the same time. Maybe this happens whenever someone plays a special card, or maybe something else in the game triggers it. What's fun is that sometimes you're forced to play a light card that's connected to a dark card that you wanted to keep. In We Play Both, everyone plays their light hand and dark hand at the same time, but you don't get to mix and match. For example, you could play Rummy by building both light and dark melds at the same time. Or you could play Cribbage, but keep a score for both your light hand and your dark hand. Each card acts as a bridge between the light and dark universe. The 7 of clubs in the light universe is always linked to the Jack of spades in the dark universe. So part of the card is drawn to be with the other light 7s, while the other side is drawn to the dark jacks. In We Play Light Against the Dark, everyone plays their light cards against an unseen force playing the dark cards. So while you and your friends are scoring points with the light sides of your cards, you're also keeping score for the dark cards that you play. So now, not only do you need to beat your opponents, you also need to work together to make sure the dark opponent doesn't win first. It can be tricky to balance this type of game. The dark force should have a scoring advantage because it can't make any decisions, but it can't be such an advantage that the real players never win. You can play by a different set of rules depending on if you're playing your light hand or your dark hand. The light and dark cards could even be playing totally different games. Imagine playing spades with your light cards, but when you switch shades, everyone starts playing hearts. It could be up to each individual player when they switch between their light and dark hands, or it could be a game where everyone switches at the same time. Another option is to let one player play dark using one set of rules, while the other players play light with a different set of rules. These game mechanics are about switching shades. During a game, you could do something that allows you to switch shades, but it doesn't affect other players. Another rule could give you the power to force another player to switch shades. With Dark Penalty, everyone plays their light hand, but if you're willing to pay the price, you can play your dark hand instead. The light and dark sides each have a complete 52 card deck. So if you ever want to play a normal card game, you can always just ignore the dark side and play with the light side. When you have a new game idea, you'll want to write down the rules so you can remember them for later. Here's the template I use for all of my game rules. So if you can fill in each of these categories, you should have a playable and teachable game. Start with the name of your game. The number of players is how many people can play. The summary is a simple description of the game. Maybe it's like another game that people know. The object is what you're trying to do to win. The deck is about which deck you're using and if you have to take out any cards before you begin. Also, if you need any extra game pieces or a scorecard. The deal is about how you deal out the cards or lay them on the table. Sometimes I make a diagram too. The play is the biggest part. It's everything you get to do after the game is set up. And the end tells you when you know the game is over. How do you keep score? And how do you determine the winner? And variations are special optional rules. That could be advanced rules to make it harder, or easier rules for children. I hope you have as much fun inventing new games as I do. Try your ideas with friends, tweak the rules to fine-tune the balance, and never feel bad if a game just doesn't work. Of course, if you discover a game you really like, please share your game on the website. I'm sure other people would like to give it a try. Thanks for watching and keep having fun.